1 o'clock in the afternoon,
You're right.
and it's Thursday.
You're right then too.
I'm right.
You are right.
I'm not often right.
Well,
That's
neither am I.
that. Yeah,
50% of the time, each of us is right.
I'm not so sure it's as clear cut as 50-50.
I was trying to be nice
I know,
to each of us.
because in your mind, do you think you're right more than I am?
Yes.
And I was
Sorry, I'm
I was
sorry.
going to answer the same way, but I think that when we have discussions, probably the majority of the time you are right.
Wait. Oh, thank God this is recorded. Well, no, it's not. Well,
it is recorded. It is recorded, and I go on record as saying that you're probably right more times than me. And I will even take it a step further. I think overall, women in a discussion, I don't want to use the word argument. I'd rather
Right. I
say
agree.
discussion, whether it's a
I-
heated discussion
Correct.
or just a normal discussion.
Correct.
Women have a tendency of having the facts at their fingertips to rely on in order to win a debate or a discussion.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say that women probably win more discussions than men.
Wow.
That's a profound statement.
This is
from me,
amazing.
and it's recorded.
I have nothing else to say.
Well, that's it for this week.
Done.
We hope you'll tune in and see us again next week.
Whoa.
No, but how do you really determine what's right and what's wrong? And then in the discussion, who's right?
And I'm glad you used the discussion, because we always would tell our kids, I can distinctly remember they'd say something about arguing and we would say,
We're discussing.
correct.
We're not arguing.
Never argued.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
yeah.
and however, sometimes they will say, well, but Dad, why are you getting so loud?
I don't remember that.
And I have to admit, I guess because of my voice and my background in voice training, if I want to make a point, I can make a point.
Oh, yeah.
And I want you to hear me.
Oh, and we did, and we still do.
Yeah. And sometimes it works against me, and it
Yeah.
causes me to end up losing that discussion or an argument. But
then on the other side of the coin, sometimes that is good, because I, on the other hand, may say very little and just close up and clam up. And so I hold
where
it
does
in.
that take a discussion?
Yeah, not real far, or later on down the line. That's when I really spouted it out.
That
and I
women
let
have
go.
a tendency of remembering the facts, because they'll come back and they'll say, you remember 2 weeks ago when we were talking about this? And I say, yeah. Do you remember what you said to me? No. This is what you said, and this is how you said it. Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I have to tell you, after almost 48 years of marriage, 48. Yeah. You learn to pick and choose I hate to use the word battles. Discussions. You do. You think it's really not that important, now something else might be. And so you let it go. And you either give in or you say, okay, I agree with you.
And then the issue is, why do you give in? And for what reason do you give in? Do you give in because I just don't want to discuss this anymore? Okay.
Right.
We'll
true.
do it. We'll do it your way.
Right.
I mean, isn't that what we did as kids to our parents? We used to just, but I want to, and go talk to your father. You go to your father and you tell him, this is what I want to do. No, go talk to your mother. You go back and forth until you wear them down and they say, okay,
no,
go ahead.
No, it didn't work that way in my house. That was it. What was said was it. It was very different than it is now, boy.
You weren't that manipulative?
No, I was a goody goody.
Oh, See,
So I did whatever. I wasn't happy what I was told, what I wasn't happy.
I was a fighter. I would fight, and
yeah,
I could sometimes wear my mother down, rarely my father.
No, I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
he was an admiral. He stuck to his guns.
But that's why your mother always told you she couldn't wait until you had children.
Yeah.
So you could get back what you gave her.
Or she would say, wait till your father gets home.
Oh.
You know, then we'll continue this discussion. You know, okay, Mom, I'll do it. I'll do it your way. She would hold that over me. But you know, even today, you know, and folks that are watching and listening, and I'll think about it. When you get into a discussion, and it doesn't have to be, you know, a knockdown, drag out fight. It could be a discussion over what movie to go see at the theater. Maybe there are 2 or 3 really good movies that you want to see, and you go back and forth. But you know, I want to go see this comedy. No, there's this action movie that is supposed to be incredible. It's got all kinds of Academy Award nominations. I know what we can, and you go back and forth and back and forth, and all. How do you finally determine who's right or what's the best way? I suppose in the scenario that I just said, well, why don't we just go twice this week? We'll go tomorrow. We'll go see the movie you want to see. And then on Thursday, maybe we'll go see the movie I want to see.
It depends if you're talking about a couple with kids, young kids, teenage kids, or no kids. True. It really does depend. If it's just the two of us,
a lot of influences.
If it's the two of us, it also depends on what you're discussing. Is it
like if we're going to go
a life-shattering event? Is it where do we go for dinner? Or what kind of bed do you want to pick out when you go to buy new beds? I mean, it just really, it's all over the board.
We just recently, have a discussion over roof shingles.
I thought you were going to say
this winter, our roof got damaged, and we have to have the roof replaced. Well, I mean, you say to yourself, what's the big deal? Roof shingle. Do you know how many different colors and styles there are in roof shingles?
I never realized it.
I didn't either until we started looking, and we had a discussion that went on and on. Do we go with gray? Do we want something with a little bit of red? How dark? How light?
How brown? How gray?
Yeah, go brown, gray, black. You know, and which company? Should we go with company A, go with company B? And now we've got to submit it to the homeowners association for approval. Well, maybe we should submit both companies and pick out a couple of options. And then you turn around and you say, okay, we picked out this one. We made a decision. Yay.
And then they
go to the roofer and he says, that one's not available.
That's the other problem. Yeah, that's the other problem.
The supply. So sometimes discussions can come back and hit you in the face.
Yeah. I mean,
but still,
there have been many times, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but there have been many times that we've disagreed on things, and you really have to come to a meeting of the minds. You really do. Like furniture, paint, doing something large for the house, right?
Artwork.
I didn't want to bring that up, but as long as you brought it up, and you know, and one will say yes, one will say no, it's not needed right now.
One will say, oh, I love that painting. And one will say, where are you going to put it?
Yeah. And don't you think,
and one will say, I don't know, we'll find a place.
Wouldn't you like to have a bigger screen TV? A more up-to-date TV? Or wouldn't you like to have a much more comfortable leather chair or couch? Wouldn't you think that would be the way to go?
Well,
no, not necessarily in your case.
but you're right. But when something like that comes up, then usually you have to have a fact-finding trip. You have to go to a couple of places and you go to Lazy Boy and you go to some
Well, guess
big,
what?
big,
It's too late
what?
because the pictures have already been bought.
Well, that's true, but
Yeah.
ultimately the last couple of art purchases, we saw one piece we liked together. Then the other one I really kind of liked and fell in love with, and had to do a little bit of discussing to get it. The last piece that we bought from our dear friend Ty Foley, who we love him and we love
that's a pretty
his
piece.
artwork. We went to an exhibit. There were quite a few pieces that we really liked. And then Lauren looks at one and says, I kind of like this. I couldn't even imagine her saying that. The more I looked at it, the more I saw what she saw. We happened to talk to Ty, and Ty says, you know what, that's one of my special pieces because I did that with a sponge technique, and very, very few pieces I've ever done that way. Well, that added a little something to it. But honestly, with the 3 or 4 other pieces that we saw at that show, we settled on this one because we discussed it. And we said, you know what, but that one, and we even had a place for it. And we said, wouldn't that be nice to put it up on that particular wall? And I said, you know, I think you're right. And that's kind of rare.
That was fairly easy. It was a no-brainer because we both fell in love with that piece.
Yeah.
We'll just put some extra pillows on the couches and your reading chair because it'll be a little while till we get the furniture.
Yeah. But I mean, it's true with anything. And it could be as serious as let's put the house on the market and move. Okay.
Oh, we've had that discussion.
Yeah. Where are you going to move?
Mhm.
Well, maybe we should move here.
Mhm.
I don't want to live there. Why? Well, we don't know anybody, and there's no doctors that we know of. And my answer would be, well, so we'll go to the nearest big city and you'll find doctors. That's what we did when we moved from Florida to Texas. You had to do that. But the thought of having to do it again, that's a serious part of the discussion.
Yeah.
But those are serious discussions when it's kind of really life-changing, trying to decide whether to go out for Italian or French food
in the scheme of things and what's going on today, that's a nothing. This is zero.
No.
But somehow we just get together and we iron it out, whatever it is.
There are a lot of things in life that sometimes you have to spend a little time trying to decide what you want to do. And sometimes one of those things could be maybe decide that you want to get involved in a new business, like maybe a franchise. Well,
yeah, that takes some discussion.
We know a guy, and all Irving Chung, who is a franchise consultant, he knows absolutely everything there is to know about franchises. And you don't have to sell the house to invest in a franchise. There are small part-time franchises that are coming on the market now that you can get into for very, very little money. And there's even loans available. We're not going to take up your time doing it. You call Irving and have a free consultation with him and say, you know what, Irving, I'd like to know a little bit more about franchising, and maybe there's something that would be of interest to me.
Irving's a guy. He
also
the man
is a franchisee.
Yeah.
He has some cycle bars for stationary cycling.
You've mentioned it. Yeah.
I know. And he's doing very well at them. So he knows from what he speaks. And sometimes we know from what we speak.
And sometimes we don't. But we get through it.
Yeah.
We get through it.
So what do? We discuss it, right? And we come up with a plan. And one thing that we don't need a discussion on at all is to be right here again next week.
At 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Thursday.
for another edition of Opposite Saxes.
Don't forget.
Yeah, go discuss it.